So this is my new Mazda RX-7. Love it! Hello Car Throttle, I am Joana Fidalgo and I'm back with you to tell you about a little bit of update to my cars. Last time I was here, I told you about my Suzuki Cappuccino, but I also told you I was selling my E46 M3. Now, what you don't know is that by the time I filmed that video, I had already agreed the sale, and a few of you were very disappointed with me for selling that car. But I've got good news. I got a 1999 Mazda RX-7 FD Type RS. When I sold the M3, I wasn't really looking to replace it straight away. And I didn't really have another car to replace it in mind or anything. But destiny just decided to put a new car on my path. I just happened to go to the Hello Jap Autos website. If you don't know it, go have a look because they have the most amazing JDM cars. And I found the perfect car for me, which just happened to be a 1999 Mazda RX-7 Type RS. I think I was identifying myself more with JDM cars. I don't quite know what it is about it. I think with my M3, one of the reasons it wasn't quite suitable for me after it fulfilled these duties as a daily, it's almost a bit too grown up. And I like my childish cars, I like my quirky, weird cars. So I already had the car with a weird size, I already had the car with the weird doors, so now I needed the car with a weird engine. I love the character of the engine. Because you got the twin turbo, twin rotor, so you feel like it's already stopped pulling and you got the second turbo kicking in and it just keeps going and it spits flames. It's childish and I absolutely adore it. One of the things I found about owning an RX-7 is a little bit like parenting. So people always have really different ideas on how we should maintain it. Some people pre-mix, some people don't pre-mix, the type of oil you use, how often you check the oil, what you do when you turn it off, there's all these things. And that for me was quite different. There's certainly more involved maintenance, but it's like everyone just does what feels better for them and that's okay. But that has been lots of research, lots of finding out what works for me in my car. I think with RX-7's maintenance and making sure that the previous owners took care of them is quite important. One of the reasons why I really never looked at one before is that they were either really cheap and you didn't really know the history of the car, or they were quite expensive and very highly modified, and I really want something that was kind of in between. So really do your research, see the story of the car, check the compression on the rotors and just make sure it's been treated nicely in its life. So I'm the first UK owner of this car. This car is lightly modified from its previous owner in Japan. I've got a lot of invoices from Night Sports. If you know much about RX-7s, that's one of the tuning houses where lots of people reference in terms of RX-7s. But it has had new coilovers, is on Enkai's GTC01s, has an HKS exhaust, has been lightly tuned because it spits flames. But I think those are the mods I could find. There's also some additional gauges in the cockpit, but everything is quite original, which is quite nice. It definitely gets a lot of attention. People point at it. A lot of people get surprised as a girl driving as well. But at the same time, I obviously get a lot of flashes from my MX-5, so pop-up headlight crew, I'm finally part of it. I'm very, very pleased with that. But it definitely gets a lot of attention. I think on the day I bought it, I was driving it back and one of my friends said he actually saw someone missing their turn because we're trying to take a photo of the car. So that's really cool. So Type RS, so there's two things about this car. First is a 99 spec. So you probably hear a lot of people talk about that. That means it's got different bumpers, it's got a bigger wing. It has some better internals on the turbos and the rotors, has abradable seals. It's got more power as well. So it went up to 276 horsepower. It's a tiny bit lighter. So basically you get the same you get on Spirit R, but with 10 kilos extra. So it was the top of the line at the time. People told me it was going to be bad in terms of fuel and oil. Oil has been good. Fuel's pretty bad. I think it's as bad as probably an F12. So I think I'm doing probably 10 miles per gallon. I love the interior. I know this sounds weird, but I love being sat behind that cockpit with all the gauges. And if you're driving it at night and you just put some drum and bass or something with a nice beat on, windows down, and you just feel like you are like in a completely different timeline where there's no Teams meetings or the world hasn't gone crazy or something. It's just so cool. It's just like pure mind-numbing, but the good mind-numbing. There's a few features I think they're really cool. So one of them, you can't see it right now, but if you take the plate off, there's a bit of an air intake here. And the idea is that you can use that for track days or when you need a bit more air cooling. I'm not sure you can see it from here, but I've got 2 oil coolers as well, so that's something different. And obviously the bumper is a 99 spec, so it's a bit of a facelift. A few people have asked me if I changed the badges on my car. Again, because it's a 99 spec, now comes with Mazda badges, not the Infinity anymore. So that's kind of cool. And pop-up headlights, obviously, very important. The wheels were changed by the previous owner. It's on NK's GTC 01s, the 17s. A very cool detail, you might notice that's got 2 valve stems. The idea is I can use one for nitrogen and purge the air out of the other one, or if you even to get rid of some moisture as well. So that's the idea. We don't really use that much nitrogen here in the UK, but something cool. And it's sitting on bliss coilovers as well. And the ride is actually really nice on them. And the back, you can tell it's a very stock car because I still have this one. Everyone gets rid of that, but I actually find it useful. So I'm gonna keep it for now. It has a different wing, slightly bigger wing for the 8 Series 99 spec. You've got a big trumpet in the back for flame and noise. And it actually sounds really nice. It sounds really lovely when it's cold. So this is the interior. This car is in really good condition. The only thing I need to fix is that this seat doesn't quite match the other one. I think at some point had to either add a sport seat or the bolster was damaged on this one, but it's perfectly fine. It's supposed to have 2 seats in the back, but as you'll see, good luck fitting anything there really, other than a bag. And we've got some Defy gauges as well, which were fitted by the previous owner. So it feels like a little bit like being on a NASA space shuttle. Very childish and I love it. So the engine is pretty standard, so you don't really see anything very different from factory here. Something you might notice that it doesn't have the usual rat's nest that you might see on earlier editions of the RX-7. All of that has been tidied up. Because of the latest engine revisions, it's got an oil metering pump, it's got all the revised bits, but you can also see it's got the bliss coilovers that I mentioned before. Yeah, it's just a lovely, very clean Dorito. So this brings us to the end of today. I hope you like my new car. I'm loving it, so I don't really regret selling the M3 right now, although I might eat my words later. But here's my RX-7, let me know what you think. Today, Car Throttle is being very mean to me because they know I sold my E46 M3 for an RX-7. And now they've given me this to try and really question my life choices.